Welcome back to Press A to Talk, everyone. I am your host this week, Jake. I fucking butchered the fuck out of that. Thank you very much. Yes, I thought this was the Weebs Closet. And these are the fellas? The pals.
The boys.
The boys.
Everything.
We used to say the boys, but another podcast has the boys, so we stick with the fellas. And this week we're doing 3x3 games, our 9 favorite games.
Yes, sir.
We're not going to get into the semantics of all that. You've probably seen something like this before, but we each collected a template of our 9 favorite games. Yeah, we didn't really specify what they were. Like Colby said, like genre defining kind of in a way.
Defining video games.
Yeah, like some favorites, some defining. I was just kind of like, if I was stuck in an island and I needed 9 games,
to survive,
which 9 would I want?
I see that. I personally have problems picking mine because after I did my 9 or like I started choosing, it's like, should I go ahead and do it like the like that one spreadsheet where you know if you're lawful good or like chaotic evil type of thing. So basically, my 3x3 is in a weird spectrum. So I'll try to explain it as I go once we get to mine.
That's good. But yeah, like originally, I'm not gonna talk about it like what I had on my list originally, but it was more like there were some games on there that I love, but I was like, if I had this on a stranded island, I'd probably break my TV because even though it was like one of my most nostalgic games, it's like not a great game. But yeah, okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 numbered like that. I'm gonna ask Siri who was going first, and then we'll take it from there.
Alrighty.
So yes, Siri, can you draw a number between 1 and 4? Okay, I guess I'm going first. We got 1.
Hey.
All right, so I'll go first. And
It's
I
all
got
to
the
you.
3x3 right.
Just look for your name and triple click that bitch. Oh
Shit, it's over here. Oh fuck, I cannot reach. Nobody look. Spoiler. There we go.
Nice. I mean, we're still looking at it, but
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of cheated there at the bottom left. I couldn't decide between Final Fantasy VII and Remake.
they're technically still the same game.
Same
It's the same
story,
game.
but Remake is just 10% of OG Final Fantasy VII. So, and yeah, Elden Ring. Elden Ring, actually, I told Colby that I was debating between like 3 games for that spot, and it was Ocarina of Time. I already have Breath of the Wild in here though, and Skyrim actually. But I think Elden Ring is better than Skyrim, so might be a hot take. It's really new. It's like 2 months old at this point. So it's hard to say,
I know a lot of people will definitely fight you for that argument / comment.
It's just like Souls games are like the gold standard of games, I feel like right now. Like everyone loves them, and Elden Ring is like the pinnacle of those. And I mean, we talked about it already. Like we literally had a podcast episode where we broke down why it is fun to play, like on a scientific level. We compared it to Horizon Zero Dawn, which a lot of people love to play, but Elden Ring just gives you agency because it doesn't tell you to do anything. So when you can do anything in the world, you want to do whatever there is. And so, and I mean, the same applies to Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna be honest, all of us have Breath of the Wild except for you, Nekko.
Yeah, I have not played it.
So we'll talk about that one
Very
anyway.
good one.
But yeah, the one that I put on here, and I don't really want to talk about it a whole lot. I just wanted to point it out. The one I put on here that I would want on a stranded island is probably Guitar Hero 3, because I don't know if I've told any of y'all except for Colby. Colby knows. I used to be like not pro gamer level, but
You were pretty good.
If I was gonna be pro at any game,
It would have been that one.
It would have been Guitar Hero 3. Like I was that guy that like wanted to 100% through the fire and the flames on expert, like just like go crazy with it. There was something about, I don't know, like
it would like stop strumming and he's just pressing the buttons on the top.
And that's what like the hammer-ons, like because I was such a young kid when this game came out that there were things that I would pick up very easily now that I didn't then, like, oh, why are there glowing notes? Oh, if you hit the non-glowing note before the glowing notes, you can hammer on and you don't have to strum on the other ones. So it's like a real guitar. And when you figure those things out and, the whammy and like trying to, get the really hard solo, the game became like so satisfying to play.
Granted, the whammy didn't give you anything at all. It was just
not really, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It did actually give you something. If the notes if it was a long note and it had the star power, you could get more power out of the.
Oh really?
Yeah, you could charge it up a little bit more. That was the only purpose for the whammy, though. It didn't, besides make it sound weird. It didn't really do a whole lot.
I did like that portion of it though.
Yeah, and also I think a couple of us have Persona 5, so we can if we want to talk about that now, we can. But yeah,
we can talk about it as a group.
As a group, yeah.
As a group.
I don't know. Persona 5 was. I feel like this is one that we could definitely talk about for the 20 minutes that we want to cover for my section, but I didn't actually like it that much for the first 10 hours, and a lot of games don't even last 10 hours. So the fact that I, played this and beat it and got a tattoo of it is just a testament to how good it is.
It's just so weird that like you have to go through 10 hours to start to like the game.
It throws a lot of weird concepts at you. Like I had trouble finding like enjoyment out of like going into evil people's minds that like assault other people, and it's like it kind of didn't mesh well with like the silly aspect that they were going for at first, and so I kind of had trouble like latching on to like the whole concept of the game. But Persona, I'm trying to think of a better game or a game that has a better gameplay loop than Persona.
Okay.
There's some, like, it's so satisfying going, like, having a schedule. Like, people love life simulating stuff. Persona was that, and it was like a JRPG on top of that, a really stylized one on top of that. And the fact that a lot of people that don't even like turn-based combat played a 100-hour JRPG that was turn-based combat and anime and a life simulator. Like
I've never played a single Persona, so I honestly do not understand the I've seen the art style, and I truly appreciate the art style. It's pretty cool, but outside of that, I have never touched a controller with the Persona 5 or any Persona game on the screen. Unless you're talking about Smash Bros, and even then I try my best not to touch Joker.
It's a lot more in depth with the combat than you'd think too, because you can like weaken them with certain characters and then hit them with a different character that's on the same team with one of their moves that does like double damage because the previous character did something to them. That's what I liked about it.
And that's kind of the style that Atlas does. Like because they have another Persona's not even like a main series; it's a spin-off series of Shin Megami Tensei, and those games I've only played a little bit of 3 and then a little bit of 5, and I guess the reason I haven't put a ton of time into either of them is because they're very challenging, or at least 3. Like 3 was, me and you were playing it, and we both tried to play it on hard, and it was like, fucking play it on medium, don't even try. Don't even fucking try. And I don't like it had the same concepts, but you had to go even like further to get that like weakness spell so that your next guy could have like an extra move or whatever. But Persona hit that balance of like tough but fair, and it was fun, and like I don't know, I love the characters, all of them except for like kind of I think her name's Haru, the curly hair girl with the pink hair. Her arc, I haven't played her part in Royal yet. That's where I am in Royal, which I hear they like redid some of her story stuff.
They redid a lot of things. I'm surprised that you didn't put Royal as
just because I haven't beaten it, and so I didn't want to put it on there. Like all these games I've beaten. And what?
Sorry, so I'm thinking you said that, and I'm thinking on my list is like, well, beaten. I'm not sure if I'm on my list anymore.
Well, you can't beat Apex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if Apex is on there, but like,
I get what you mean.
But yeah, there are. I guess the 3 games I knew I wanted on my list for sure was the what I won't say people call it, but I've heard a few people online call it like the holy trinity of JRPGs, which is Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, and Final Fantasy VII. That was like in an era, like that was like the golden age right there. Like, would you disagree?
I mean, I wouldn't say that Final Fantasy VII would be part of the holy trinity, because I mean,
really,
because 6 and Chrono Trigger came through in the SNES era.
Yeah, but I mean, Final Fantasy VII was like a year after Chrono Trigger.
I mean, yeah, I think. I mean, if you want to make it the holy trinity of Square Enix games, then yeah.
No, I think that's what it was. It was just sort of like when JRPGs were really taking off in America, because Final Fantasy VII was that game, and a lot of people found Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI through that game. And so, like in the '90s, those are like to me, and to like I remember, I think Jeremy Johnson mentioned it, and Maximilian Dude had mentioned it. Like these were the 3 JRPGs that everyone had like played in the 90s.
Can somebody explain to me why Chrono Trigger is just Goku with like
that's
child style?
Yeah, because it's Akira Toriyama. Like he did the artwork for it.
Oh, okay.
Chrono Trigger, I think Chrono Trigger is the only retro game. I won't say only, but the only one I would feel comfortable recommending to literally anyone, like even people that just play like Call of Duty, because I think it has so many unique mechanics, and it is the combination between Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. So the superstars of both those squads came together to make Chrono Trigger.
Wait, you're telling me that I gotta think in order to play a game?
What do you mean?
Then no Call of Duty player is gonna like it.
You play XCOM.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
No,
okay. I was about
Call
to
of
say
Duty.
you were. Yeah. No, I would recommend it. I was like, you have to think in your games. Okay, no, maybe not Call of Duty players, but a lot of because it. Where do I even fucking begin with Chrono Trigger? Like, what makes Chrono Trigger interesting? First of all, it's like 15 hours long. You can beat it in like 2 sittings. And without a guide, I think the last time I played it, I had to like look up one little thing and I beat it in like 16, 17 hours.
Yeah.
It has New Game Plus. It was one of the first JRPGs to introduce. Was it the first game to have New Game Plus? Somebody might have to correct me on that.
It might be one of the few.
It might be one of the few first ones. The game has 12 endings.
Holy shit.
Which is a reason it has New Game Plus, so you can just run through the game again at super
great.
high level. And the DS remake added a 13th ending. So if you get the DS game, you get 13 endings.
That's actually pretty cool.
There's so much cool stuff. You can kill someone that becomes your teammate, which will completely change the story. I don't want to spoil too much, but the main character dies. You can bring him back, or you can just leave him to be dead and beat the game with less characters. There's a frog character that's been cursed, and there's an ending where he's uncursed or he stays as a frog. There's a ton of like variation. The whole game plays into like time travel, so you'll do stuff in the past.
I kind of figure out why the chrono part of it.
Yeah, and so you'll travel back in the past, mess with some stuff, travel back into the future, and stuff
Everything
is
would be
completely
that's
different.
pretty cool.
I remember I left like the robot character on like a farm like 500 years in the past, and like when I came back, it was like a whole like little civilization had been built, and he just was working on the farm. And over the 500 years, he was like, "Oh, it's been 500 years. It's so good to see you again." I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I just fucking like. And like a little like 1 minute cutscene traveled into the future, and you've been here for like 500 years. It's so crazy. And this is it's like a pixelated game, and like they were doing all this stuff in this game, and it has such good music. Like I'd say aside from Persona, it has the best turn-based combat, because it doesn't feel like turn-based combat. It's not like Final Fantasy where your character's over here, the enemies are over here. Like when you engage in battle, it's not random battles also, like, which is crazy in the 90s, because Final Fantasy was doing random encounters until like the mid 2000s, until like 12, I think, or 11 doesn't count, it's an MMO, but 10 was random, or 10-2, was it random? I haven't played 10-2.
10-2 isn't random.
Okay, so 10 was like the last random, but that's still like 2001. This was like 95, 96, and it was like you could avoid enemies if you wanted, and when you would engage in combat, all the characters would like jump onto opposite sides of the screen, and like you'd have a little bar under your character to let you know when you could attack and stuff. And it was really like innovative, I think, for JRPGs.
In terms of combat, you're saying like basically there's enemies in the map, and if you like run across them, then the combat starts a little map area, and they just start spreading around in the map area, and they start fighting.
Well,
kind of like a Paper Mario, I think.
Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
I would say it's most close to like Persona, where like if an enemy sees you, he's gonna go after you.
But you can outrun them.
Yeah. You can run past enemies and whatnot. And to do that in the 90s, I can't think of another 90s game that doesn't have random encounters. You're just running into a dungeon, you're low on health. Oh, I got to do this fight now.
No, actually, Earthbound.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Earthbound, yeah. So, yeah, Earthbound doesn't, which was another game I thought about putting on here, but I was like, no, too many JRPGs. And I haven't beaten Earthbound. So, but I have like 30 hours on the game. But, yeah.
Then you also got Final Fantasy VI in there.
I haven't even talked about 6, which I've already like given Colby the whole rundown a few years ago. I was just like circle jerking on the game, like, dude, this is like Endgame before Endgame, Infinity War before Infinity War.
Is that the one that we played on the NES?
SNES. So it's the one with Kefka, like the clown.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VI is personally my favorite JRPG, like of the unofficial Holy Trinity, I would say. most people I think would say Chrono Trigger is better just because it's more innovative. But Final Fantasy VI was the retro game that made me start playing retro games, because I said, damn, if me, someone who plays Madden and Halo and MLB the Show can enjoy a game from like almost 30 years ago now this much, and then like I had to start playing others to see if they could be this good. And some of them were pretty close, but Final Fantasy VI is the first game up to this point that had characters this good to me. I haven't played everything that came out in the 90s, obviously, but there's some crazy stuff in this game, and the gameplay is not that impressive. Like Chrono Trigger, I think, plays a lot better. That's why I recommended it to everyone, and it has a time travel mechanic that's really cool. It's short, but Final Fantasy VI is much longer. It's about 35 hours, but the characters are what?
I said Jesus Christ.
30, is 35 long for you?
Yeah.
After Elden Ring?
Yeah.
We only spent 200 hours on that game.
I know, right?
You know what's funny about Elden Ring? It's the only game that I put 120 hours into, and Nekko went like, oh, you're going to stop playing it now? Bruh, I'm done with the game, bro. No, I think it was Mike, too. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to wrap up my time on Elden Ring so I can start playing Final Fantasy Origin. He was like, what do you mean? Like, you're done with it? It's like, bro, I put 120 hours on that game. I beat Final Fantasy VI 4 times with the amount of time I put into this game. Like, and it's funny because I still haven't done everything.
And that is the difference with Elden Ring, though. It's just that I just feel like that's not enough time to see everything, period. Mm-hmm. Like, and that is ultimately it, because I got 180 at this point, and I still haven't seen everything. Hell, I still haven't beaten it.
Damn.
I still haven't even beaten it yet.
Damn, yeah.
Dang.
Love the Elden Ring.
You love it, but you hate it.
I just love it, honestly.
I hate it.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think the only reason I'd never hated it is because I played it like I don't want to say I played it like a pussy, but like I did all the shit that you're not supposed to do, like summon things and use really OP.
If it wasn't supposed to be done, then it shouldn't have been in the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say. Yeah, because people want you to beat this game naked with a club. Like,
yeah,
I want to enjoy this game. Like, I went in the dungeon. I got the
I
thing.
Already suffer in real life. I don't need to suffer in any other game. Come on now.
I suffered enough with
Demon
Souls, and then with the Tree Sentinel at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And I beat that dude first. That's the first thing I did. I said, I'm not leaving this area until I beat this fucking guy. Yeah, and honestly, it's not that bad. Like, Mike and Nekko, they both watched. So, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade came out last summer, which is the DLC, and they dropped a boss named Weiss, who I spent like, take any boss in Elden Ring, multiply how long you spend on him times 3, and that's how long it took me to beat Weiss. So I don't think I was that frustrated with Elden Ring, because like Final Fantasy VII Remake is
you were getting so upset trying to
I think that's the day I almost broke my controller. No, yeah. Final Fantasy VII Remake's really good too. Didn't talk about that one. Smash.
We were all trying to play Final Fantasy 14, and this guy's breaking controllers in the background.
Yeah, I low-key want to wrap up mine because like I don't really have a lot to say about Smash, because Colby's list, I know that I have a little bit to say about it.
Okay.
So
it's a controversial list.
I thought it was pretty good. I know there's one game on there that we're all gonna have something to say about.
I think there's 2 games I'm gonna get some hate on.
Really? You think so? I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see. But let's move on. Draw a random number between 1 and 3. 1 again.
There it is.
All right, Colby. I think it's just doing 1.
Time to get the hate.
Just keep the hate. Just keep going this way. And then
That's it. That's it. At this point,
that's what you meant. Okay.
It don't matter at this point.
You're right. All right, so we'll do Mike after. Speaking of Paper Mario.
Yeah. Okay. The 2 I think I'm gonna get hate for is Call of Duty and Oblivion.
The thing about Oblivion is I think people actually like Oblivion. It's just so memed.
It's pretty broken. I would say but
that's what's the most fun about it.
It is, yeah. The commentary or the dialogue between characters is borderline just dumbasses talking to each other. The combat is very easy. You don't do much. You just press one button.
See, the physics is what gets me.
Yeah.
Because you could literally just drop a poison apple in front of somebody. They'll eat it.
That's true.
They'll just, be like, and then just die, but they just slump down, just very awkwardly too, and it's just I don't know, like the game doesn't know how to handle people.
No,
Just
it
in general.
doesn't.
It just
And I'm not afraid to say like it has its bad parts, but I'd say Oblivion was probably my first video game that wasn't like a first person shooter that had like a story and like you could explore on your own and do stuff on your own. Like I don't know why, but one of my favorite like quests is whenever you buy the house in Anvil and it's like haunted.
yes,
And you have to like kill the ghost and then like you go to sleep and the house is like completely fixed. I just it was stuff like that. There's a little quest like that throughout the game that made it worth it for me.
Yeah. I remember because I hadn't seen Oblivion since like 2008, and then I bought it on PC in like 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I can't wait to get back on this game.
then
I
you
looked at it
played
and I
it.
was like, what the?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like this. And then I went back and I looked at Skyrim and I was like, Skyrim looks so old too. And I was that's like the day I realized that like Bethesda games age like cheese.
Yeah.
Like they get old after like 3 years. They look bad. And like I love Skyrim, but it looks so bad now.
at least for me, Skyrim is just that one game that if it's not modded and it doesn't look
Yeah.
better, I
Yeah.
just can't play it.
Yeah.
It's just that bad. But Oblivion, I can kind of like buy because it's just, I don't know, it's just a
its
meme
time.
in itself, and it
Yeah.
I don't know, like you can break the game without even trying
Yeah.
to mod it or just like, so it, I don't know, I like that.
You can do a lot of stuff in it that makes it fun. Like I always, one of the first things I'll do is get in the top position of the Mages Guild, and I'll make my own spells, and I'll do like 100% weakness to magic, 100 fireball damage, and I just destroy everybody.
You just do like shit like, increased jumping ability, and you
Yeah.
can just jump so high that you actually die from fall damage as well. So
That is fun.
That it's a broken game, but it's good.
I gotta say I love Black Ops. Like I love two Call of Duty games, and it's Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah,
but
Modern Warfare 2.
I wanted to put Modern Warfare 2 on here, but I put Black Ops because of zombies.
Yep. And I would say over time, my appreciation has actually grown greater for Black Ops because Modern Warfare 2 is good because of multiplayer. And,
Yeah.
and I think the campaign's a bit better than Black Ops. But the maps in Black Ops, like Nuketown and Summit, were
Summit's
so
really good, yeah.
good. The guns were so good. And then, of course, as the best zombies mode, it has not even gotten close to being topped by any Call of Duty
And the
game.
campaign is
Campaign's
very
still pretty good. I still think Modern Warfare
Yeah.
2 campaign is better, but
Yeah.
like Black Ops, if I want multiplayer and zombies, definitely going with Black Ops.
Yeah.
I still think it's like one of the best, probably the best Call of Duty to me.
I would agree.
But yeah, the weird one, the one that threw me off the most was probably Black Flag.
I think that's the best Assassin's Creed game in my opinion.
I actually agree, but I think I was just like, oh, there's an Assassin's Creed game on here. It was one of those because like it has like now I think it's developed kind of like a bad rap like Assassin's Creed
it
has,
has.
just because the series has been so inconsistent. Some games are really good and then some games are Unity. Because I remember actually what I found really interesting about Black Flag is like I think people consider it the pinnacle. So like if Assassin's Creed 4 could run or Assassin's Creed 3 walked so 4 could run is what I meant to say. Because it had like the pirate aspect, but they were like, oh, they just like the pirate stuff. Let's go full pirate in 4.
Yeah.
And then they made Unity, which was like the next gen Assassin's Creed.
And it was just
It was glitchy as all hell. But actually, the team that I think made 4 went current gen on Xbox 360 and PS3 and made a game called Rogue. So you actually had two different Assassin's Creed games going on at the same time, and it was so crazy that actually the one that was the previous gen was actually in line with like Assassin's Creed 4 and was pretty good, like holding up to that as opposed to like the next gen one.
Rogue wasn't bad.
Yeah,
it
Rogue was
wasn't
pretty good.
terrible.
But yeah, Black Flag, like what was good about Black Flag
The
is
ship combat.
I like the combat in general. And then it cut back like 80% on the human stuff, like the modern stuff. Because I never found Damien's story interesting in Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, Black Revelations, Brotherhood. Never thought it was that interesting. And they spent like so much time on it in those games. That in 4 they were just like, oh, you're just like a guy and you have an ancestor that was a pirate. All right, be a pirate for however long.
Actually, I think the story. I mean, I think it's more along the lines like that, like because like they, at the end of the whichever game, like the one before Black Flag.
So I think it was 3.
I think they end up killing the Damien guy.
Yeah.
They kill him, but they keep him. That's why all these games continue because you're I think in 4 you're just a tester. You're trying to test the newest Assassin's Creed game.
So if I'm not mistaken, it's like a company is running like Black Flag or whatever, and you just randomly got assigned this dude like for an assassin or whatever.
Cool.
And it's just like a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, and I think as the series goes on, they continue to remove and more of what. Of that, I guess, like the real life aspect of the game, because like if you go and play like Origins or Odyssey, they have just the very, very bare minimum, and because the game just focuses more on just like the whole what is it, the pieces of Eden and just like all that godly shit, like you know, suddenly like in Odyssey, like the gods are actually like these like higher plane beings. They're not even like gods in a sense. They're just like the people that hold the pieces of Eden or whatever connected, and just I don't know, fucking weird bullshit.
Yeah, I remember you were playing Valhalla, which is I think the latest one, and they mentioned Odin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the newest expansion for that one, you play as Odin.
Oh damn, that's cool.
So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, so they went like full like mythology with Assassin's Creed, I guess.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. I've only dabbled in Odyssey, just because I did have like another Assassin's Creed phase where I was like trying to go through all the good ones again, because there are really good ones in the series.
Brotherhood is really good.
I think all of them prior to Unity were solid.
Yeah,
like first one was okay, it was kind of a cool idea, but then 2 was really good, and then they had after 2 they had the 2 spin-offs, Revelations and Brotherhood, were both good, and then 3 and 4, and then they went into Unity. Syndicate was supposed to be like the redemption from Unity. It was pretty much just as bad. And then Origins came. And that was kind of like the new age of Assassin's Creed.
But now it's like all split up because people are like, I want the old Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
The shitty, janky type of Assassin's Creed. And then other people are like, no, but I like this type of Assassin's Creed better.
That's sad because I honestly, Assassin's Creed was one of those that I really wanted to play, but I never got around because there were so many other games at the time. Plus, I think by this time, were we still in PR? I think at this time we were still in Puerto Rico, right?
I wouldn't know.
4 was like 2012. 13, something like that.
So anything 2012 and behind, I will be already still in Puerto Rico, and since I have young brothers and whatnot,
I was about to say young kids.
I was a player since then, No, but since I had like younger brothers and whatnot during that time, I was not allowed to have any bloody, shooty game whatsoever. I had to like wait till midnight to play Resistance in PlayStation 3 whenever my friend would lend it to me and whatnot. And
that is hilarious because didn't your sister show her son like Alice in Borderland or something like that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
My nephew being like not even 10 years old was watching Alice in Borderland. There's a lot of blood and whatnot. Yeah, it's crazy. That's the difference because my mom would do the same. She would also play Parasite Eve. I think that's how you call it. I don't know. She would play those games, but she would wait till like 3 a.m. and whatever, so nobody was awake, so she could go in and play it as well. So again, is that whole idea? It's like, oh, younger people cannot watch it, so I wasn't never part of the Assassin's Creed crowd.
Yeah,
and at this point, it's kind of late.
I mean, really, there's only a few good ones in my opinion. So it's not even worth
actually worth playing. Yeah. There's like 3, I would say 3 or 4.
Definitely Odyssey. I feel like that one is a definite play.
I would say like of the new ones, Odyssey felt pretty good. I haven't really dove into it, but I was like, damn, like Ubisoft made this. Holy shit. 4 is good, and then Brotherhood. I would say or 2. Yeah. Those are good.
We could probably talk about Persona 5 for 10 seconds. We talked about it a lot.
We did.
The turn-based combat was good. What's up?
How did I what was like how did I get you to play it? And what was your like impression of it? Because I said, I didn't really like it at first. So like, what made you stick with it?
So I kind of I didn't not like it the first 10 hours like you did. The story was whatever. I liked. This was probably the best like anime game I've ever played because I had played a few before and they were just terrible, just not good. This one was actually like promising, And then once I started getting deeper in the combat is whenever I started to get really addicted to it. Because the combat, like I said earlier, is like, it's more in depth than you think. You can make it more in depth.
I mean, you'll definitely enjoy Shin Megami then. Because it
just to play it on hard.
Shin Megami's system is Persona on a whole other level.
Okay. Yeah. I will say, like Shin Megami's good. There's definitely like ever since Shin Megami Tensei 5 came out, I've noticed like a divide in the like Shin Megami fandom where it's like this isn't Persona, because like people were reviewing Shin Megami 5 and they were comparing it so much to Persona 5 because I feel like sometimes in series like I feel this way kind of in certain game series like Dragon Quest. Like my favorite Dragon Quest game is Dragon Quest Builders, which is like a spin-off game. And so like for the spin-off to like overtake the original series is pretty rare, and it makes you question like what is Shin Megami, I guess. Like what is true Shin Megami Tensei? Are they going to move on and do something more? Like is Persona going to overtake Shin Megami Tensei and be like the new face of this series?
I mean, in terms of popularity, I would say yes. Because I mean, Shin Megami has always been very niche. It's just one of those games where like it's like if you find it and you enjoy it, then you're gonna get a lot out of it. But it won't be the star of the company. It definitely won't be Atlas's like main thing. It was in Japan because I mean it got so popular to the point that eventually Persona, was born out of it. But I don't know. Like if I wanted to include an Atlas game in my list, but ultimately I just couldn't decide. But if I had to really pick, I would probably put a Shin Megami game in there. Because I feel like, in terms of gameplay, which is one of the things that I value the most, I think Shin Megami just has a beat. Like Persona's combat is nowhere near as intuitive as Shin Megami's. Shin Megami really makes you think, and it really makes you consider your party setup and everything.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
And it's not as Persona, because Persona you kind of like just can go by just like whacking enemies with your hardest attack. If you have I forget the nuke skill, like you can probably like just wipe a good amount of enemies just by doing that, and you can like you'll still have to like consider maybe enemies that are nullified or resistant to those type of things. But Shin Megami really takes it to a whole nother level. Like it really makes you consider that this guy might be weak to ice, but he's still pretty tough. What's going on? And then you have to also consider like, oh, maybe I need to debuff him. And then you start debuffing, but he starts like nullifying it. Like he'll have an ability that really just resets him back at 0. Or like it'll reset all of your party at 0, and then you're like, oh shit. And then there's a lot more consideration when it comes to Shin Megami.
I would definitely agree with that, because Shin Megami Tensei feels like Persona. If Persona said like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna kill your whole team right now, and so you have to like really.
I want to punish you for playing the game.
But to like. I guess the reason I haven't ever beaten a Shin Megami Tensei game is because and I don't want to be that guy, because like when Shin Megami Tensei 5 came out, everybody was like, this isn't Persona 5, this is bad. And it's like, no, it's not. You just like, it's a Shin Megami Tensei game. But it does to me feel like it feels like Persona with like the stuff that I hate to say this, but the stuff I really like cut out, which is like going to school, making friends, having like a love interest, getting a job, and then but the combat is you show up for Atlas and you stay for the combat. I'll say that. And 3, like I haven't loved 5, but I did really like 3, and I stopped playing 3 because 5 came out.
I went really far into 3. I haven't beaten it yet, but I really went really far into 3. Like I just like the whole, because that's another thing. Like Persona has like diffusion, but like in Shin Megami, it's not as easy because you first have to encounter the demon just like as you would in Persona, and you have to convince them. Yeah, that's fine, but if you don't have a good amount of resources, you're pretty much fucked, because fusing them won't necessarily grant you everything that you need. And you don't necessarily get a a how would I say it? Like Persona kind of like lends you a little bit of a hand with the whole analyze skill and everything. You don't really get that in Shin Megami.
Yeah.
Like you have to like the only way that you're gonna learn about these like enemies like weaknesses is either if you've encountered them before and you kind of like get an idea of what they're gonna be maybe weak against or not, or you just kind of do trial and error.
You know how in Persona how you capture enemies like in your mask?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, oh, can I have like a candy? And you give them candy and then they come in your mask. Shin Megami's like, can I have $1,000? Can I have a chocolate? Can I have some popcorn? Can I have this item? Can I have that item? Nah, fuck you. I'm not going to join you. Bye. They just take all your shit and run.
They do.
It's so like that game. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I could ramble.
Very in depth.
Very in depth.
Very much so.
I thought Breath of the Wild is probably my favorite open world game. I liked how it had the 4 like mystical beasts or whatever.
Divine beast, yeah.
Yeah, and you could choose to go get them, get their power, and then like final battle they help you out and they help you a lot. Or you can choose to say, nah, I'm just gonna play for a few hours and then try and beat Ganon. Which I mean, a lot of people can. I never did that. I like to go through everything.
Yeah.
The DLC wasn't too bad. It just added items that you'd have to find. But honestly, just like the main game, the open world, like the freedom you had of like combat, like you could like throw a rock in the air, like freeze an enemy, and then the rock will fall on them and kill them. Like you can do a lot with the combat in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it was. We talked about it on another episode. I think it was the Elden Ring one where we just said that like there's open world games are now like divided in 2 categories. It's kind of like old style, new style, and Breath of the Wild was like that first new style where it was 3D because like. I would say the first Zelda is a go anywhere, do anything game, but it's also, 8-bit, and it's like screen based. So like whenever you go up, you go to another screen, like the screen scrolls down. So it's very like slow moving. And Breath of the Wild was that, but completely open world, no loading unless you're like in a cutscene. Even if you walked in a house, you just walk in the house. And I would say like. That's why both this and Elden Ring are on my list because Breath of the Wild did it first and then Elden Ring, like for me, took it to the next level. I won't say it's better. I still prefer Breath of the Wild just because it's so like, I don't know, like the sense of discovery was so good in Breath of the Wild because
it was.
Now I know where everything is. And now that I know where everything is, I'm like, damn, the design on this map was so good. They really consider where everything was. I beat the entire game for the first time, not even knowing that the Master Sword was in the game. Didn't even know it was in the game. Granted, I'd rented it from Family Video, so I was trying to beat it as fast as I could. But still, it was crazy to me when I played it a second time, and I was like, I'm in this forest, and I'm like getting lost. And then, after an hour of trying to trek through this forest, I came across the Deku tree, and it was giant, and then the sword was in front of it, and I tried to pull it, and then I couldn't because I didn't have enough heart.
It really makes you feel. It makes you feel like a badass whenever you pull it.
Oh my gosh! And like you get down to that quarter heart, and then it like chinks a little bit. And you're like, I got it. And you pull it out. It's like, oh, so good. So good.
Shadow of Mordor. Honestly,
Shadow of Mordor.
I put that on here. It's just fun. Like it's just straight up entertainment. Like, I don't like the Golem missions at all. I wish they would have just completely just.
You're not gonna get the Golem game when it comes out.
Golem.
They're making a Golem game. Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe. But I liked the like building your army and then a full on like siege like that. To me, that was just so much fun. It's like there's nothing like I'd say super special about it. It's just really fun.
I never played it, but I did see a couple of things of like the orcs getting demoted or promoted according to which you kill one. I felt like that system was pretty interesting.
It was, yeah.
Because I mean, I'm pretty sure some other games might have it, but I haven't seen it in any other game. And then I saw this being played. I don't know, people playing it like Twitch or whatever, and I saw that whole concept. I'm like, that's actually pretty cool.
It's probably the first game that I can't think of another game that did this, not exact concept, but pretty close. But if I could think of one, I feel like this is probably the first one to do it like almost perfectly.
We were actually talking like over a year ago, I want to say, about a visual novel idea, and we were thinking about like how do you make a decision matter in a game without it being just like a fork in the road, kind of like what was the term, Mike, that you used? It kind of just like a tree I can't even think of the word now.
It's like a decision tree. I don't know.
Decision tree.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, like how do you make a choice in a game matter to the point that it doesn't feel like it's flowchart?
Flowchart, yeah. To where it's like, okay, so you choose between A and B. So you go on B route or you go on A route, and then these lead to more decisions. And I think we broke down like the cool thing about Shadow of Mordor was that like you could make anyone in the Orc or the Uruk army like in your army. Like you could take over anyone, and those decisions impacted like how they attacked their own people. You know, like that was really cool. That was a really cool mechanic.
And I think that at least what I remember from that conversation, I think the most important thing that I remember pointing out is just the fact that Shadow of Mordor has its system to the point where like the game story is like in a case irrelevant. It's more like it provides more like just those moments where you have a story of your own to tell, like playing this game. Like sure. Shadow of Mordor really sets itself up for that, because you'll have these instances where you're fighting this orc and something happens and you end up dying, and then he just says this something witty remarks, and I'm just like, man, fuck this guy. I want to go get him.
And you go after him,
and then you go get and you try to get him.
Cool.
But then he's like, you know, he has this ability that you weren't prepared for, and then maybe like, you know, maybe he kills again, you kill him again. Like I had this instance, and I think I remember talking where like I had this guy that just kept showing up. He just, no matter how many times I killed him, he kept showing up. And they were like, and I thought at that time that when you decapitate him, he's dead for good. Like the game just considers him damn. I mean, fucking no, he came back. After I chopped his head off, he still came back.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, I remember you fucking chopping my head off. I'm gonna fuck, you know, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then through my encounters with this guy, I had built him up to be a force to be reckoned with. Like there was a point where like I was kind of scared of fighting him because he just had all these different things. Like he was immune to like backstabbings. He was immune to this.
God, I hated those
he was immune
so
to range
much.
because I killed him with range. Like he kept coming back.
Worst.
And it was tough. And so like I remember that very fondly because I was like, man, I fucking hate that dude. You know,
that was the great thing about the game. I put like 80 hours in the game, and I'd say like 60 of those hours was just me fighting the Uruks, because there'd be such cool storylines, and I'd be like, this is when I was kind of like just getting back into gaming after graduating, because I bought the game when it came out, but I played it for like an hour, and then I put it away for like 2 years or something like that. Like right before the second one came out is when we really played this a lot. And just like I would play it and I'd be like, this isn't even like main story stuff, and it's like so fun because like there's so many like different enemies to fight, and they're all like completely unique from each other.
Yeah. The main story though is
it's
really,
still really good. Yeah.
The main story. The side stories are whatever. You just get like special abilities completing it, but the main story, like the plot twist at the end or whatever, is really good too.
Yeah. Second one was okay. It was just more good stuff from the first one. They didn't do anything like amazing with the
I didn't really
one.
care too much of the story of the second one, but I really like the siege fights where you just bring your army to fight against somebody else's army. And you know, you could really you could also go and help out other people who have been defeated by other armies, and you can just do that, and it just has infinite replay value in my opinion.
Minecraft.
A lot of people would say the only perfect game that exists.
I don't know about perfect.
Well, I mean, like,
the
what would
shaders
you
and
change about Minecraft?
Okay, well,
Exactly. Like, it's just like its own thing.
You can
it's its own game.
you hop in and you do whatever you want. No story. You do whatever you want. You get 3 of your friends. You build a house. You divide in groups of 2. Come back in a week. Try to kill each other. You build 4 different houses. Have a contest. There's just so much. You do whatever you want in the game.
You know, there is a story.
Well, in the new, I'm talking like OG.
No, yeah. OG has bosses.
Well, other than
Is
like, I'm not talking like the dragon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because like when I found out that people were speedrunning Minecraft, I'm like, what are you building a house as fast as you can? Or, like,
Yeah.
like to find out that like
I had the same thought
how
too.
many steps you got to go through to fight this dragon, who's hard, and you got to fight him, and like I
wouldn't say that was a story. It was more of just like the final boss.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No, I definitely get you, but Minecraft, it's for some reason I've never like gotten into it.
I always downloaded it, played like for 3 hours at most, and then stop. And it's one of those games that you have so much freedom that you're like, I don't know.
You don't know what to do.
Yeah, so I just logged out.
That's exactly why I play Dragon Quest Builders, is because like you're stuck on an island and these people need a house, so you build them a house, and it's like, oh wait, I gotta poop. Build a toilet. I don't have the supplies for that. Okay, you got to go in the world, get the supplies for that, come back. Oh, they gave you rewards because you gave them a toilet. And that gameplay loop keeps going and going. And then you have a civilization and people are coming in and you get food and like that's
Same with,
fun.
like Animal Crossing.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. I guess it's just more building in Dragon Quest Builders, but like Minecraft is like that, but like just go
Figure it out yourself.
Yeah, figure it out yourself. RNG also.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck?
Wherever you spawn in, we're fucked.
You load up, the world's completely different. That's the best part of it, I would say, is that like it's always different, and you're always gonna find materials that you need in a different spot. So you're always having to explore.
Bro, I didn't even know how to make a pickaxe. So like that's the thing. Is I got to the game is I don't know how to build anything. So like I couldn't advance. At this point I could definitely look it up, but like I wasn't in the mentality that if I can look it up I should. You know. Nowadays I look everything up.
No, yeah, definitely. But good game.
Good game. Yeah. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. That, in my opinion, in my opinion, is the best turn-based combat.
Ooh, them fighting words right there. Because I actually like.
It's so interactive. Like there's like a crowd that watches you. The crowd grows bigger. The bigger the crowd, like the more star power you get.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The timing is important with your attacks.
I remember I had actually lent this from Christian back in like 2017 or something like that.
You lent it from me.
From you? Yeah. Was it? Oh, okay. No,
you still have it,
right. No, yeah,
okay,
I still have it. It's
good.
Still on the shelf. Don't worry.
Good.
I took very special care of that game, and I still haven't.
Special.
I still haven't beaten it.
It's very nostalgic too for me.
Yeah, I would say like I prefer. The only reason I prefer the N64 one is because I beat the N64 one.
Same.
And I still need to beat this one, but I think. From what I hear online, this one's just as like loved, if not more, because it's like you said. Like I remember I was playing the game and then you came over and when you said we were gonna beat it together and then you took over and like I'm not gonna say you played it differently, but like some of the stuff that you do in this game is pretty. It's very like Chrono Trigger, I'll say.
Yeah.
Like very not like time travel or anything like that, but the character interactions are very unique and how you use characters is very unique. Like that. I couldn't get past one part, and then you had to use like that lady,
the cloud lady that blows the paper away or whatever.
Yeah, and I was like, that just completely like went over my head and stuff like that.
The story is really good too, and like the final boss is like not easy.
Don't even know who it is.
I'm
assuming it's Bowser. I don't know.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You wouldn't be able to guess who the final boss is.
I don't know.
That's funny. The only turn-based game that I played that was Mario related is the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I don't know if you ever played it. I even looked it up just in case because it's probably one of the first few DS games that ever came out. So that's the only one that I played. It was interesting. I think because I've seen how this one plays, they play extremely similar in terms of like the combat. So if this one is anything like that entirely, then I can guarantee you that the turn-based combat is pretty satisfying.
It is.
I want to encourage you, Colby, to get the Super Nintendo Classic, like that little box that has like 20 games on it, because it actually has Super Mario RPG, which was kind of like the blueprint, I'll say, for Paper Mario. Okay. It has a lot of stuff in common with Paper Mario, and it's really good. It has Earthbound, it has Final Fantasy VI. Shit, I'll even mod it for you and put Chrono Trigger on.
Yeah, I was about to say I want to play Final Fantasy VI eventually.
Yeah, it has a lot of good games. So I would say if you want a good RPG, like a good Mario RPG after this one, that was a really good one.
Finally, Super Smash Bros. Melee. This game is what defines me as a man. Growing up, my oldest brother just got back from college. He's living with us. And other than like pros, this man is insane at the game.
You think Marine boot camp was hard? Christian would put you through the ringer on Melee.
He would like.
Boy, I don't even play Smash Bros. Sit down and play this fucking game with me right now.
He would never take it easy.
He would pull out Fox just bah, 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 bah. How are you even doing this?
It's so fast. The combat between characters is insanely fast. That's why I like this one a little bit more than
No,
more
yeah,
than
definitely.
Ultimate.
Like even Ultimate's considered like it's way faster than Brawl or Wii U.
Yeah.
Like the last two, but
Melee
just
is-
feels like
yeah.
it feels slippery. Like you move and it's like, oh god, like he sprints across the stage
Yeah.
instantaneously.
That's why I honestly like these last few ones. I haven't liked them as much because they just don't feel the same. It feels that there's some sort of delay
Yeah.
on how the characters react. Whenever you jump, it takes forever, or like the way that they move, it's kind of janky compared to this one. That's why this one and what was it? Super 3. What was it? M3. The computer based one. It's the same game.
Was it M3? I think it was called M3.
Something like that. It's basically Melee, but it was in computer.
Yeah, it was emulated, and it was so you could play online with people. Obviously,
Yeah.
I think it got shut down by now.
Yeah.
If it hasn't, I'd be very surprised. But
And there's still pro tournaments
Yeah.
for Melee.
Yeah.
And
it
it's
just got taken out of Evo a few years ago, like 3 years
Really?
ago. Like it was at Evo I think it's the longest run for a fighting game. Like consistently, it was like 18 years. I think
Dang.
it was at Evo, and
Couldn't they have waited for the 20-year mark? Come on now.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
for real.
But it was taken out because Smash Ultimate is just such a big fighting game that I'm not gonna say there was no reason, but it's like you said, there's still tournaments everywhere for this game. I think it's the most entertaining Smash
Yeah,
game to
I would
watch.
agree.
And honestly, like if I had a favorite documentary, it would be
Yeah.
the 4 hour long Smash documentary. It's what made me love Smash, and I will never be good at Melee because the skill ceiling for Melee,
It's way high up there.
it's worse than Fortnite.
But-
Like it's
I would
like
even
his-
say skill floor is it's also pretty high.
no, yeah,
Because I mean, it like if you try to replicate anything that one of the pro players do, like it's impossible.
yeah,
Like,
you can't just like replicate what somebody does. It
you can't
takes
just
hours
wave
of practice.
dash. You can't just learn it
Yeah.
in 5 minutes, you know. And Christian, his older brother, would like really take the time to try to get us into it. And after hours, I didn't feel any progress, and he was like amazing at the game, and he would get his ass kicked by somebody that just goes to local tournaments who would get their ass kicked by an actual pro,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Me and Bo got really good, and Melee is what made me good at like Ultimate. I just like picked up, and I would say I was pretty good at Ultimate for
Yeah,
never
right
playing
out of the gate.
Ultimate. And then like obviously you and I started playing a bunch, and then got really good. But Melee is just very fast. Growing up, that is just the most smack talk I've ever received in my entire life. And there's still a running bet between me, Bo, my middle brother, and then my oldest brother Christian, that if either of us beat him in a legit 3-stock tournament or in a 3-stock match, and he's like trying very hard, he'll give either of us $100. And that's been a deal for the past like 7 years, and we haven't beaten him yet.
dude, okay, you know how valuable this game is, right? Like it's like almost $100, maybe $100, and it has been like that for I don't know how long, but we couldn't find a copy because it was all three of y'all were in town, and his oldest brother was like, Jake, let's play Melee. I'm like, I don't have Melee. I have 64. You like 64? And he's like, fuck no.
Yeah, who plays this?
Like nobody plays that one competitively.
that's
so-
not true.
Really?
There is a competitive.
Oh
scene for
wow,
64.
okay. But he was like, you got to get your hands on the game, and so he's like, put a Facebook post out, and this one girl that I used to go to school with was like, hey, do you want it? I have it. Do you want it? And I was like, well, fuck yeah. Like, how much are you selling it for? And she's like, just like come pick it up, and she gave it to us for free.
Oh, jeez.
For free. And I was like, I even had to tell her, like, do you know how much this game is worth? You could easily sell this on eBay for like $80. She was like, yeah, whatever, just take it. And it worked perfectly
God.
fine.
Jeez.
It came with the manual and everything.
Jesus.
So yeah, Melee. Probably
Good
the best
game, good game.
Yeah, probably the best GameCube game personally for me.
A 1,000-year door.
Alrighty, let's move on to Mikael. Ooh.
There we go.
Okay.
Death Stranded.
Yeah. So
Okay.
my list is just the theme that I went for. My list is just games that I have very strong feelings for, like just like
Nostalgia?
games that have given me like either like good, just give me that good old nostalgia factor, or just really has given me like memorable moments, or something that I just feel very strongly about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like let's start from top left. Like we'll go from Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy 14. If I had to pick any of the Final Fantasies, it had to be 14, just because like it just, in my opinion, it feels like such a good comfort game.
Yeah,
Like
that's a good
you
way to
can
put it.
easily come in play a little bit, play with your friends. You can play for the story. You can really just enjoy everything that Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy. Whatever makes Final Fantasy. Get your take, come out, leave and just, play another time. I mean, it is an MMO, which, it's easily compared to WoW, and like it is just as addicting as WoW is in its own sense, right?
You need to put a lot of hours in
it. There, like this game demands a lot of hours to get a lot of progress, but once you find a good spot where it's not overtaking your life, but you are still making decent enough progress in the game, like it gets super enjoyable. There's just so many good things about this game that I could literally just talk on for hours. And the fact that, funnily enough, like we started playing this game with the idea that, because I had initially was like telling Jake, bro, like if it, like you should play this game because there's so many good things about it. And like Jake was like, I don't know about it, but then I started
because I had played it before and I didn't really like it. But
and then I was telling him, like, bro, like just stick through it. Like I'll take you to like the coolest fights. Like I'll take you to fight Bahamut. And then I told her like, Kefka is in this game. Like I'll take you to fight Kefka.
Gilgamesh.
And like, I'll take you to fight Gilgamesh. I'll take you to fight fucking everything. Like, and like every now and then I'll be like, Jake, did you know that the Warrior of Light is in this game? And it's like, what the fuck? But I don't know. Like we started this game and when we all started on an even playing field, and we just kept going, and we dropped out of it and then came back on it again just recently.
We dropped out for like 7 months or something.
Yeah,
like that.
And then because like
and Walker
had just been like announced, and then we kind of just dipped out, and it was like, all right, fine, but like I always had that like, man, I kind of want to jump back in. And we did, and like this time around when because we all came back, in a staggered sense, right? Because I came in first, and then like my brother Kevin, he jumped in like immediately. Like I told him, hey, I'm playing Final Fantasy, and he's like
throw the wallet.
Yeah,
and he's like, set me up, I'm ready.
Yeah, the thing is that like Stranger of Paradise came out, which there's like this weird disease I have where like if I touch anything Final Fantasy, I have to just play it all.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm gonna go back and play 6. I'm gonna go back and play 9. I'm gonna play 14.
It's a weird disease.
No, yeah, because I don't have that with any other series.
Sir, it's called obsession.
No, yeah, definitely. But 14 is that even more than 9. 14 is that celebration of like the entire series.
Oh yeah,
where you get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and there's a lot because like they've just added like a lot of these collaborations. I mean, Kevin and I were literally just doing Rathalos, which is a Monster Hunter monster, and like it's included in the game because Monster Hunter World and Final Fantasy 14 had a collaboration at one point. And so we've been like trying to like get Rathalos as a mount. Yeah, and that's been a lot of fun, and we've just been doing things here and there, and like we're just kind of like waiting for both of you guys, because obviously like we like in terms of like story, we've gotten to the point where like we our schedules just don't sync up, and so we like this whole idea of trying to do the story all together, like it wasn't gonna work.
Not working. Yeah.
So we just decided, hey, let's all play this as if it was just a single player Final Fantasy game. You play at your own pace, and you guys are playing Heaven's Word, and you guys are going pretty well at it, I would say. And just kind of like waiting on you. Day. But like it's like just waiting on you guys so that we like let's all jump into to do this thing and like just have fun. But yeah, I don't know, like Final Fantasy 14, I wouldn't write like I would recommend it to everyone if they had the time to play it, because it's definitely not a game that you can just pick up, play for 2-3 hours. And
I gotta give Colby the rundown, because like we so you played Elden I want to say Elden Scrolls, but Elder Scrolls Online, right? Yeah, because that has expansions, so like little stories that
I
build
bought
up to
that game and it uninstalled pretty quickly.
I liked it, but yeah, Final Fantasy to me is better. It's just better. Like I enjoyed what I played, but like we beat the first expansion of this and it took like 150 hours. Well, like overall, like if you skip everything, dude, you could probably be like 15-20 hours if you skipped everything and did everything really quickly. But we did a lot of side stuff too. I did a lot of side quests personally. It all added up to like 120, 150 hours, something like that. And after we beat it, we were debating if we wanted to keep playing. And me and Nekko were kind of like wondering, like, damn, like we have 4 more expansions to go through. Do we really want to go through all of it? And Nekko was like, bro, like we put in 150 hours and I only got to the point where I quit last time.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so fucked. I felt so defeated and I was just like, I should probably stop playing right now.
And that's fine, but I don't know, like you came back.
Yeah.
And like you decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go through it. And then you started playing Heaven's Word and you started enjoying it, I think. You're enjoying the story.
No, yeah, I always enjoyed it. It's just such a commitment.
But I will say that I have at the very least I have fulfilled my promise to you that we made it to Bahamut and we fought Bahamut.
That's
we
one
still
half
have to
of the
do
promise.
it. We still have to do it again with Nekko because Nekko hasn't gone through it. But I mean, the way that we're
Y'all
going
actually
to
beat it.
I mean, we
haven't done Savage,
cheesed it.
but
We
yeah.
cheesed it. We basically cheesed it. We didn't actually beat him per se because like we just unsynced and we were just over level for it. So it's not really the same. But I think with Nekko, I think we'll just do it like how we how it's intended, and we'll go through that and actually like have the full experience. But yeah, like I feel like I could talk about Final Fantasy 14 forever, so I'm just gonna continue.
Alrighty.
We definitely could.
Zelda, we've talked pretty much about Zelda at this point. I don't think any more input from it would be too meaningful.
Yeah.
It's just a really good game. Fire Emblem Fates. I've always liked Fire Emblem. I was debating on whether between this one and Three Houses.
It's a great one.
But I ended up picking this one just because like this is the one that I kind of like fell in love with because I played Awakening and Awakening was pretty fun, but I was like not too sold on it. It wasn't until Fates.
Damn.
Because Fates, if you pre-ordered a special edition of Fates, it gave you the cartridge that had all 3 stories on it. Okay, the game originally sold in it was either Fire Emblem Conquest or Fire Emblem Birthright, and then the third one I think it's called Fire Emblem Revelations. But there were completely 3 different stories. It kind of like they sold it kind of like Pokemon in a sense.
Okay.
But like you could still buy the other version and play through it. But to me, just I don't know. Like I like the whole idea that the story is pretty. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's the best Fire Emblem story, but like conceptually, it's like the one that I had the most fun with because all three versions of the game play differently.
That's cool.
Birthright plays very similar to Awakening, where like you could go back on missions and you just kind of like redo those fights so you can level up your characters very like new Fire Emblem style like. But Fire Emblem Conquest played like the classics. You played that fight, you got the experience that you got out of it, you move on. You don't go back.
Is there any like there's no mission select, it's just go through the story?
Yeah, I mean there is mission select, so there are those extra missions, but those extra missions you like it would be played the same deal. Like you would get those extra missions and then once you got that done, you can't go back to it. So you got to continue moving on. And so like you had to continue and like your characters would be like if they were under leveled and you had to make do. And so I really liked that.
Yeah.
And Birthright kind of like just played closer to Awakening, which meant that you could have all of your characters like leveled up evenly. But I never got to play Revelations. Revelations is basically just the conclusion of both storylines. But I don't know. Like there's a lot to enjoy, and I still have the special edition box with the cartridge and everything. Cool. So like really I don't know. Like for some reason, I've kept it. I can't really explain why, but I've just kept it, and it's still with me to this day. So.
Yeah, Fates is like one of the few. I think I didn't play the one that was on the Wii, and then I didn't play Fates. I think I've played them all. I even played for a limited time on Switch. They had the English translation of the very first one.
Yeah,
and it was for like $5, and now unfortunately it's not on there anymore. But that one, it was literally like you start and you do the battle, and then you move on to the next battle.
And the story
like,
continues.
All right, we are at the next battle now. Go!
And then,
So it's not like...
And you really have to be very careful about, oh man, I really want Marth to be in every single fight. But then like Marth would be like at a max level, and then like you're fighting basically alone because either all of your other units are dead or they're severely underleveled to the point that they're not going to make any type of damage.
Yeah. So at some point, I might have to snag Fates from you just to give it a try, because I did play Awakening. I thought Awakening was my first one. I loved it. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one that basically brought Fire Emblem to life. Because it was a niche game up until that point.
Yeah, it makes sense, because the GameCube one's like fucking $350 now.
Yeah. Death Stranding, I don't know. Like, this is the one that I feel like would be the most controversial just because of the fact that not a lot of people enjoyed it. But there's just something about it that makes it very unique. And it's just, there's no other game like it. Truthfully, there's no other game like it.
It's true.
And it's a nice, it was a nice experience, I would say. Like, it's like, there's no like no real combat. Like, yes, there are some combat areas where you get to fight like some enemies and some of the, you know, the BTs, which are the big monsters of the game. But for the most part, you are going from point A to point B, delivering packages and just trying to like brave the wilds and whatever was in your path. And so that to me was like very refreshing. Right. And then the story itself, I mean, it's a Kojima story. Like, if you came in to play Death Stranding expecting that you were going to get something cohesive, then you should have looked somewhere else, because Kojima stories are never as simple as other game could be. So.
I just realized that the only game I skipped over was Metal Gear Solid 1. I had Metal Gear Solid 1 on my list, which was my Kojima game.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's that introduced, like, because Kojima had done Metal Gear 1 and 2, but it wasn't until
Metal Gear
Solid that it was wacky. Like, shit was weird, and I love that game. I mean, my YouTube channel is literally based off of Liquid Snake, just because he's my favorite villain in games, I think. And I'd say it's funny because Japan has probably my favorite video game storyteller, my least favorite video game storyteller, with Tetsuya Nomura, who did Kingdom Hearts.
Oh god, yeah.
Because those are like, we have Kojima, who did Metal Gear and Death Stranding, and then we have Kingdom Hearts, which are two series that just are very non-cohesive, but one has really great characterization and great character stories, and like, even though it's not cohesive, everything has a rhyme or reason in these games, you know.
And
like,
Kingdom Hearts just feel all over the place.
I just don't know what's going on in those games,
Yeah.
and there's no like reason for anything. It's cringe, and it's just like, it feels like a guy.
It's just an anime game.
It's just like, it feels like an edgelord trying to be edgy.
Like, it's like a diet version of Final Fantasy, but then you add some Disney to it, and then it just gets into this weird middle.
But Kojima is that guy. I still need to beat Death Stranding. I enjoyed what I played. No. I should just play the director's cut, shouldn't I?
You should.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
If I'm not mistaken as well, didn't Death Stranding had the ability to kind of build in community? Like, people
I mean, that was
posting things.
his whole purpose. Like, Kojima wanted that game to be like, hey, let's make this a single player cooperative game. Because whatever you contribute to the game, it gets built up on whatever other people are doing. Like, you know, once you get connected to like to like the network or whatever, like, you would have this whole area where you see everybody else's contributions.
It's like helpful Elden Ring.
Like, yeah, in a sense, yeah, because like you have to be like, man, I have to like fucking cross this mountain.
Try rolling off the edge.
And then you would have to like
try jumping.
Yeah. Try finger butthole.
But you have like, I don't know, like this game it's an experience. I'll say that. Like, it might not be for everyone, but it was never meant for everyone. You know.
True.
Moving on. Resident Evil 4.
Great game.
This game is just
great game.
It's just too much fun. I can't get tired of it. I've played this game so many times that I think I've gone past 20 something times. Like, and it was just so fun because like you could continue new game plusing, right? Yeah. But then you would just put yourself in a different situation. Like, I played the entire game with just a handgun.
That's crazy.
With just the basic handgun, and I just went through it, and I was able to do it. And like, another point, I was just like, man, let me just get the first weapons that you get for anything and everything. because like you get like upgrades later on. Like I got the basic handgun, basic shotgun, and then like I needed the basic sniper rifle, and then like the TMP, and that's it. That's all I got, and then I just had to make do with that. And I don't know, like that to me just is fun.
I love the game because I feel like Resident Evil 4 was the best middle ground between like thriller, I gotta be careful with everything that I use, and also a shooter. Everything past Resident Evil 4 just became a straight up shooter. You no longer were scared. You were no longer like kind of fearing, because 5, I remember playing, it's like, okay, cool. Zombie headshot, weird flying monster, headshot. And that is it. Like it didn't bring any kind of fear. 6, I think it tried to bring it back a little bit, but again, it just felt like another shooter.
6 was even worse in my opinion. It was just like a Jason Statham action movie.
Yeah, and that's my thing. So Resident Evil 4 just hit the nail on both. Like, let me give you some more action because you haven't been able to actually play proper, like defend yourself properly in the past games, and like, but still give you that sense of like fear or thrill that you really need to get the hell out of here. Period. Because I remember you even were, I think it was in the sewers or whatever, that you had the black monsters that had spikes, but you have to shoot them in particular areas with the heat vision or whatever that you had on. Yeah. Oh my god, that thing was always terrifying.
They could only kill them with the rifle because that's where it showed you where the heart was.
With the heat vision,
yeah.
Which is the one that I played?
You played remastered? 2, which is that's probably my favorite, and I'd say I like 1 more, but 4 is still like perfect in what it is. It accomplishes exactly what it wants to. It's like you said, it reminds me so much of House of the Dead with how arcadey the shooting is. It's perfect. It's better than the remakes in that way. Like if I want to play an arcadey like meat and cheese shooter, I want to play like definitely Resident Evil 4. It's not very scary, but I love the location. Definitely, I wouldn't say I like it up there with the 1 and 2 for level design, but it's way better than 5 and 6.
When you're saying 1 and 2, you're talking about the classic one? Or are you talking about the remakes?
I would say remakes. I never really played the
because like I mean like I have like the Resident Evil, just like all of them are pretty good. Even like 0, which is like the most it's like the least like, I guess. All of them are fun. Like I was originally gonna put 7 because 7 is I feel like that 7 is just so damn good.
It's such a shock factor too. It's such a different game.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like I kept coming back to 4 because 4 is just the one that I just had the most fun with.
It is the most fun.
7, like 7 and 8. Just felt like one of those where like I play once and I'm good for the, I'm good. I don't feel like jumping back into it. Like all the like that's the thing with horror games. Like good horror games, will do what they're what they're meant to do. They'll give you that scare factor and everything. But Resident Evil 4 is just, I don't know. I just love I love to continue coming back to it. Donkey Kong Country 2. That's my favorite platformer.
It's very good. I remember me and Colby played 1 on the Super Nintendo. We were just raging.
Yeah,
it's fun though. So good. It's my favorite. Like there's no Mario can't, like, to me, like this game beats Mario in terms of platforming.
Like 2D and 3D Mario.
It's different because like 3D is its own beast.
Yeah.
But at least 2D, like 2D Mario, yes, they're fun and everything, but like I don't know, like Donkey Kong Country 2, I can always come back to it. I'll always have that same level of enjoyment that I had the first time that I was playing it. And yeah, like and I'm kind of like, and this is brought like, because like we brought up a discussion before, Jake, where like you were saying that the newer Donkey Kong Country games were like pretty good too, and like you and I had that back and forth because I was like saying, I don't know, like I just like they don't capture the same feeling that the first 3 did, and we've had this conversation back and forth on what makes those games like really good, and whether like the newer ones are just as good or in a sense that to me, like it just since it doesn't feel the same, I don't like it. But granted, like I haven't given the new ones a chance either, so I'll definitely have to jump back to that. But at least for now, I'll say, like, I'll stand by why I said where Donkey Kong Country 2 is just my favorite platform.
And it's like I say, like I like them both, but I like them both for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
Classic Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 are very challenging platformers.
Yeah.
The new stuff is not. It's a more of a collectathon.
Yeah.
So, and it really just depends on what mood I'm in. Most of the time I play the classic ones, but I still really like going back and playing like the newer ones.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter, I don't know, like this
It's such a
Very
great
fun.
party
it's
game.
it's so good, but like the thing that makes it so good is just the fact that it's best played with other people.
Yeah.
This is definitely a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Like I just don't have the same level of enjoyment playing it alone.
No way. I would not play this alone. Actually, not even Rise. I'm surprised you didn't put Rise on here.
I wanted to put Rise, but like I just never really got to the end of it.
Yeah, we never finished it.
We never finished
we
it.
didn't.
I guess I'm the only one that finished it. Maybe I don't know. Did I?
You
I thought I did.
None of us finished it because the ending of Rise is like
We didn't even do an Elden Ring.
It's only in the multiplayer missions.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
we have to go through the multiplayer missions to get
and
to the
Sunbreak's about to come out,
ending.
so we're gonna definitely have to hop back on that game when the DLC comes out.
Yeah, I'm like in the fence on that one because I did enjoy Rise a lot, but for some reason I see myself missing like World more often than
Really?
Rise.
Wow. Okay.
Although that like Rise brought a lot of things to the table that if I go back to World, I feel like it's gonna be missing.
That's the thing, right? Like I heard a lot of people. I didn't play a lot of World, but what I heard is that like the wire bug makes World like unplayable now.
Yeah, it really does, and that's my thing. It's like I would love to go back to World, but I know that like the more that I see that I don't have the same mobility anymore, I'm just gonna be like kind of missing it. But then I go back to Rise, and I think it has to do with how it looks. I grew so endeared because Monster Hunter World was my first Monster Hunter game ever. And like it looked so amazing, like the graphics were
Yeah.
good, the dragons look amazing, everything. And then going to Rise, they don't look bad, but you can see
It's a Switch.
yeah, it's a Switch.
Yeah.
It's a Switch. You know, I'm pretty sure that if I play it in a PC, I'll probably enjoy it slightly more.
Yeah.
But like even then, it's like not too sure. But yeah, I also have Monster Hunter in my list.
Yeah.
We played Rise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We.
Those were some good times.
Oh man, yeah.
It's
It
the
was-
clutch times that make it like
Yeah.
the most enjoyable.
Yeah, Rise was just like it was my. I call that one my first Monster Hunter because I played World, but I didn't play it multiplayer. I just played single player, and I only put like 10 to 20 hours into
Okay.
it. But Rise, oh my gosh, like everyone felt like the main character in that game.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's what was so good about Monster Hunter is that like
And everybody
like,
can play so differently too.
Yeah, it's like every weapon made you feel so different, and like I always felt like my team needed me to get that one big hit in. You know?
Yeah,
They need
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I got to get the Rathalos tail. You know, like
Yeah.
Gotta make sure to like do the impact shells on my fucking gun.
yeah,
the thing.
You know, like
Dude, it
where's
was so
Kevin with the
good.
horn? You know,
Yeah.
You like get whacked and then like out of nowhere you just kind of like see Jake's character just flying over and just
Let me just slam
That was the
down.
thing about Rise though is that you get hit back in the wire bug and then you do
Oh, the
front
wire
flip,
bug, yeah.
fucking charge blade on the face. Like yeah,
Dude.
gosh about the game.
Yeah, it's so funny because like again, like if you can, it's a game that you can get stuck in a single weapon throughout the whole gameplay and never touch another one.
I played.
Yeah.
Well, I only used dual blades the entire time. I have like 30 something hours.
It
The
was
dual blades
so
was fun.
like I think you told me is that it's like so anime and
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
it
is so
is.
it's like you just see Colby up there with the charged dual blades like I'm going in, hold him down.
doing the Beyblade move on top of the top.
Yeah.
and it's-
like
that
was
shit was cool.
We had like when Nekko and I were like playing World, like we were trying to like do like the hardest monsters. Like at that time it was
I was so
a monster
setting a lot
like
of
yeah
moments.
it was a monster called Alatrion.
Uh-huh.
And like
Oh, yeah.
he had like so like he almost felt like he could fit just right in Final Fantasy 14
it does
because he has a lot of mechanics that you see in more MMO games where he has a DPS check. You have to do enough damage to knock him down so that we can continue the fight. Because if you don't, he's gonna wipe everyone out.
Yeah.
And
You gotta make sure to focus on the horns first, because the horns are the things that power his magic.
We had to focus on the horns, and if he goes to if he's like flying, then we have to be really careful. Like it was.
Didn't he spawn like whirlwinds of fire or something? I don't know. Like there was something that you had to avoid while he was in the air.
He did a lot of bullshit. Like
he did.
But like that, I don't know. That for me, that just felt fun because we were making progression. Like slowly and surely, we're getting to that point where we were gonna kill him
and testing different builds too. Because like we would switch from like glaives to like sword and shield just to somebody can focus on just healing everybody. Then you will go back to like the bow gun, so you can start like doing the explosive blows on the head to try and break the horn faster. So you had a lot of people trying to switch up their style just to try and get these DPS checks. Something that again like no other Monster Hunter to a degree has done, except for probably Fatalis or like bigger Elder Dragons. And then Rise, I never got to that point, which is probably why I miss World more. Than sense. Rise.
I would say like the later hunts, like when you really get into Monster Hunter and you start fighting the really, really strong ones, if you like the progression of like, you know, you encounter your first monster and maybe you might not be able to kill him the first time because you don't know his patterns and stuff like that, but you start learning his patterns, you start getting good at fighting him, and then you like really like get to that point where you actually score the kill, and then you got to do it again so you can get his armor set and stuff. If you really like that loop of progression, then you know, then at that point you might as well just start playing an MMO because it has that same level of progression.
Definitely.
Make it mean.
But yeah, Mega Man Legends, I'm not gonna jump into this too much. I just like it's just unique. There's not another game of it like, you know, just like it. So these last two is just that they're unique games that I've played, and I kind of miss playing those type of games because they stopped making them.
I need to go back to Hack because I was really a huge fan of the series, but since it was so divided between manga, anime, game, manga, anime, game, manga, it's like I cannot follow the story anymore. So it was such a pain in the ass. So like there were a lot of things that I saw that interest me so much because it's the first like dive into virtual reality. And like kind of like Sword Art Online is a thing. But
Dot Hack is the Sword Art Online of like the late 90s, early 2000s.
And it was so amazing. Back in the day, there was nothing like it. So whenever Sword Art Online came out, that's what drove me into Sword Art. Is because I already had this idea of like getting stuck in a game, playing the game from inside, and whatever happens to you in the game may have some repercussions in the real life.
Because like the whole Dot Hack thing is just a big project. Like this is like one of the biggest multimedia projects I think like that I know of, right? Because like it all took place in this MMO. But like you don't play online, like it's kind of like a pseudo MMO, so where like you feel like you're in an online game with other people, but it's all just a single player game. And like if you wanted to get the maximum enjoyment, then it would be just like Nekko said, like you would have to watch the anime, because the anime would have a different version, like it maybe would have like previous events, and it would, like you would be like, if anything, like all of those, like the manga, the anime, the movie, the games were just like, if you wanted to get more out of, I guess like more lore and more world building, because as the animes and the mangas progressed, you got to see the game progress as well.
That's cool. That's a cooler version than what they're doing with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Because this one, it begins and ends with a virus that starts plaguing the game, and it starts like bugging out characters, and they like basically like fall into a coma if they lose to like these like bugged out enemies. And so your main character, like he gets bugged out, but he has like this like weird item that lets him rewrite data in the game. And like your goal is to basically fix the game in a
Mind
sense.
you,
From inside.
This is probably like season 5 at this point. Like you lost a couple of mangas going to that point. You lost a couple of games getting to it, because that's what I started, and then I realized there's so many more stories that I didn't even get to.
Isn't that the game that I have, like where that one starts is because you like recommended a collection and I bought it, and then I started it.
That's I think like the one I recommended was GU.
Yes.
Which is basically the sequel to this, because in like timeline wise, the game, like the company like that basically holds the game, like that had the servers, they burned down. and so they had to recreate this game from scratch.
Damn.
And so the sequel basically starts in this new version of that MMO, but like some of the old data is still present within this game.
That's cool.
And that's where all the hijinks and all the weird stuff that happens in this newer game comes from.
That's pretty cool.
It's a great concept. I love it. It's just it's really hard to follow.
Yep.
Alrighty.
You know what it reminds me of that
Go ahead.
I probably could have put on my list? Doki Doki.
Oh.
All right, Nekko.
Alrighty, so for my list.
Oh, you cheated too, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, hell yeah. So for my list, it's weird. So on the left side, it's gonna be all the single player. To the right, it's multiplayer. So it's kind of like a thing.
Okay.
Ooh,
And
Paragon? That's what I'm talking about.
And then from the top to the bottom, it's linear games to open world games. So starting with XCOM, everybody knows that I'm a masochist and I love pain. So and this is probably
That's an understatement.
No, yeah. Do you know what XCOM is?
I don't.
It's
know.
basically like Fire Emblem if you want to fucking die.
yeah.
Well, it's like Fire Emblem with the difficulty of maybe like Elden Ring and Dark Souls-ish, but like in a strategy
Yes.
in a strategy setting,
So fucking
and
It sounds fun.
it has permadeath on it.
yeah,
Oh.
and it shows you like when you're going to shoot like an alien, it'll show you the percentage. It's like, 89% fucking headshot. Let's go. I missed. What the fuck? And then the enemy's like 12%. He hits you.
Yeah.
Headshot. Like just fucking. And it's not like I'm not over exaggerating.
No, it is like that. It is.
It just.
Yeah, I think you, Kobe, you might get some real enjoyment out of this game because like
It's fun.
it starts you like so like the thing is that it's meant to punish you because you have these aliens that are invading and then like you're just like regular like Earth militia, you'll have like conventional like just regular weapons but they don't work as well.
Yeah.
So like you have to like the few couple kills that you do that you do make
Are
and you
big.
kill, they're big, and then you start stealing their tech, and you start
and
developing
upgrading from
new
it.
weapons with their alien tech, and then you start like developing your recruits. They start ranking up, and then they start getting like these specializations. They can turn into a sniper. They can turn into like this like dude with a shotgun that like comes in like close quarters and like
Like a lot of different things, and there's like 5 different classes, and if you get the DLCs, it's even more. So your squaddies can slowly evolve to whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, like Mikey said earlier, there's permadeath. So if you have a sniper rifle dude that you love and he gets killed, you're fucked. You are gonna have to go for another one, and hopefully he turns into a sniper rifle.
You have to train him up, train up.
And all the stats are different. Like the stats are randomized. So if this guy had like 99% aim, and the other guy may have just 28 aim, and he became a sniper rifle for some reason. So like you gotta like it works on your favor, especially with the mods and everything. I played it modded because I love it because you can get cosmetics and you can add things from Paragon into this game. So
Can you?
like, yeah.
Paragon was fun.
Oh dude.
XCOM sounds cool because it sounds. Fire Emblem 3 Houses was the first Fire Emblem game I ever played.
Yeah.
Just because growing up, I never played that, and then Jake told me
neither,
about
yeah.
3 Houses, but it sounds like kind of literally what you just said was 3 Houses, but
It's
really
ju-
hard.
yeah.
It's very hard.
I love it. It's a game that after a while I just go back to revisit just to feel the pain. But at the same time, whenever you max out your strategies, like how you know how to take upon certain situations, you can get out of a whole mission flawlessly without taking any damage or whatever, as long as you know how to bring them into you. You got grenades, so you immediately hit everybody by this amount, and like how you like it's a matter of learning how to fight against each individual alien and their style.
Yeah.
So but once you do, it just feels so satisfying getting out of a mission completely unscathed. But yeah, so there's the next one over is gonna be Pokemon, and honestly, I put Diamond and Pearl in there, but honestly, every single Pokemon, whenever it comes out, I need to buy it and I need to play it. The only ones that there's only like 4 or 5 that I didn't play, but it's because of the fact that at that point I didn't have the machinery for it. Like I didn't play Black and White, not X, Y, Z, whatever the thing is. Lola, Sun and Moon, I didn't play those.
I was about to say you didn't play 4 or 5 of them. You missed out on 0.07% of the entire series.
I know, right?
How dare you?
But so my thing is, so I played. I wasn't even gonna put it here, but the thing is, like somebody at work told me something, and it's very important to bring up. And it's like, if a game made me do an Excel sheet in middle of my work time just to get through the game, it has to be my favorite time. Like, why would I spend my time trying to make an Excel sheet for a game if it wasn't because I'm putting, I'm into it. So I had a whole spreadsheet done for my Nuzlocke for the Shining Pearl, for the Elite Four, which it sucked because I did exactly what I wrote down, but I still died in the Nuzlocke. So I kind of restarted again from the Elite Four and managed to beat it, but with the same Pokemon that was the last one standing regardless. I don't know if you know what a Nuzlocke is in Pokemon, but it technically is like first Pokemon you encounter, it's the only encounter that you can get in that route. If the Pokemon faints, it dies, you cannot use it again. You need to like rename them and whatnot. So the point is like you can lose this game. So it's kind of like permadeath for Pokemon. So since I spent so much time doing Excel sheets trying to get it, it has to be there. And Pokemon is just overall enjoyable.
It's a classic.
Yeah. And then you have a Legend of Arceus, which changed the formula, and I love the open world. It was fun. Granted, I did want to play more of it, but there were so many other games that I just kind of like left it on the side. Paragon, it's an amazing MOBA. It sucks that it died. Yes, Fault is out. It feels different, but it still plays similar. So I really just want to play Fault again. The problem is just that, again, it's the people. I don't have the same group of people because Paragon was in PlayStation, so I was able to play with people.
This
Paragon
is the third-person MOBA, right? Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Paragon was very fun.
It had verticality, which not many MOBAs have. Like I think it's Smite, like has a third person and makes you think that's verticality. There's really no verticality whatsoever. But Paragon, like because of the abilities, you could jump over terrains, get over certain X sections. There were like little paths that would jump you to the other side of the map, and you could kind of like how you call it, like just seize, I don't know, seize people in the middle, murder them. It was fun. I spent a lot of hours in this game, and honestly, again, another game that I make Excel sheets to try and get my mid lane to freaking be overpowered as hell. Not many people. I guess Kobe is the only one that played it here. It was really interesting. Elden Ring and Bloodborne. The reason why I didn't put Elden Ring in here is because, like you said earlier, it's too kind of early.
Yeah.
But granted, again, the 180 hours can back it up. But at the same time, Bloodborne, I got a platinum on it, so like both of those games kind of.
It's like I said when we did the podcast on it. It's like Elden Ring is like one of the best games I've ever played, but it doesn't make me go, it's so good that I don't want to play Bloodborne anymore. Yeah. Like Bloodborne still has so many things about it that I still love, like the visceral attacks, where like if
it will replenish your health.
Replenish your health, and like the parry is the best in Bloodborne. There's no Souls game that has a better parry, I think.
With the shots and everything. I never mastered it. I always sucked. So I just went with dual handing. Fucking the knives. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the lore on it. For some reason, was slightly easier to follow.
It's so fucking weird though.
It is weird. But it's definitely easier to follow than the rest. And Elden Ring, it does have a decent story that you can follow, but it's only if you're like really into it. Because right now the only one that I follow was the Ranni storyline, and it's the only one that I understand completely to a degree. But yeah, we already talked about Monster Hunter World. Again, it's just if you want to fight anime, you feel anime, it's great at a freaking game.
The dual blades.
Yeah.
Dual blades.
Apex Legends, to this day, it's my bread and butter. I come back, I play a couple games, and then just quit angry. But
no, I think Apex is probably my favorite battle royale.
I would agree.
Definitely. And that's the sad part about battle royales. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. But since you got legends to choose from, it makes it interesting the next match, because you're like, you know what? I'm tired of this legend. Let me switch to this other character.
Yeah, they're all unique. It's not, Fortnite.
Yeah.
No offense to Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, and then now they took away the building in Fortnite, so
yeah.
I think they brought it back already.
So it's like a different game. There's like two different game modes. One's building, one's not building.
Yeah, I kind of want to try it because I heard really good things
that's what
about
I'm
it,
thinking too.
I don't know. Apex is just like, I mean, Titanfall. If I was gonna put a shooter on my list, it would have been Titanfall 2.
Titanfall
2 was crazy. Like
the main story was fun.
The main story was cool, and the multiplayer is just chaos, absolute chaos. You can fight a human in a mech. You can fight a mech as a human. You can fight a mech as a mech.
The parkour and that thing, like just jumping from wall to wall, like the speed as to how people killed you was insane.
I mean, the mobility in the game was so fun because like if you were the grapple character, first of all, the grapple in Titanfall is like 10 times the length as whatever his name is, the robot.
Yeah, Pathfinder. Yeah,
Pathfinder. And you would grapple across like an entire city and then run on a wall, spawn your Titan. It would drop down. You jump inside your Titan and then just kill it.
I love Titanfall too, just because of the like. Again, you knew who was a skilled player and who wasn't.
Yeah.
Because the people that didn't play the game will just be running on the floor.
Yeah.
Running. If you saw somebody running, okay, they're noobs. Kill them. Then you will have people shooting you midair, just flying with a sniper, and just immediately like freaking like grappling out. And it's like, how the fuck do you even like aim at this?
Yeah.
It's insane. I loved it a lot, but sadly, it didn't make it on the list just because I think Apex, it's technically Titanfall, just definitely more multiplayer. And then for Zelda, it has to be Ocarina of Time. Like, like Ocarina of Time for me, like it's really nostalgic. It's the first open world that I ever played to a degree because it's linear, but you still have some choices to make here and there. Where do you want it to go and whatnot? So I truly enjoyed it. And again, y'all already talked about Breath of the Wild a lot, but I feel like this one, it was mainly because of the idea that, you know, even though that it's a main straight game, you could still kind of like go around and do your own thing.
No, yeah, it was crazy. I remember seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was like when the Xbox was out, and I was still like, whoa, like this is crazy. There was nothing really like it, you know?
Yeah. The next one is probably a surprise for especially Mikey, Destiny. I really didn't want to put it here.
I didn't want you to put it there either.
I really didn't want to put it here. But the reality is, and I think pass me the mouse real quick because I think I downloaded it. Yeah, somewhere around here somewhere. Okay, cool. There you go. This is a game that I played over 1,800 hours of my life.
Yikes.
I cannot say that I played 1,800 hours of a game and say that it's not in my top 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a game that I honestly loved the initial game, but the second one, I think the reason why I disliked the second one is because of what they stripped of it. By the time that the first one ended, that's why I don't like Destiny anymore per se. But ultimately, it is still one of the best shooter MMOs out there. Because that's the thing. It feels like an MMO, plays like an MMO, but it's not the same gameplay mechanics or like the shooting mechanics. Again, it's entirely different. So that's what I loved about Destiny when I read it.
I played Destiny 2. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was like amazing, but from what I've heard, is the first Destiny is much better. And I'd never played it, so
and that's the thing. It's like definitely Destiny 2 has a lot of quality of life improvements. So I would not go back to Destiny 1, but it's more of like that. Like it's that first rip of the soul of all the things good that Destiny 1 had. That then whenever you start the vanilla campaign of Destiny 2, it just didn't have anything. It was extremely bland. It's like, what happened? Like, yeah, we can do more things, but we don't have places to go. We don't have game modes to play. Yeah. So that was the main problem with Destiny 2 whenever it came out.
I mean, granted, like they fixed a lot of that, and
now
to some extent, there's I would say more stuff now than there was by the end of Destiny 1. So.
Yeah. No, and it is, and I'm pretty sure. But now the problem is there's just too many games now that I've dipped my toe in, and it's like it's really hard to just stick to one anymore.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, Endwalker, which is Final Fantasy 14, Mike already talked about that a lot. And honestly, it's just a fun MMO to go back to. It's if it wasn't because it consumes my life, I will be playing it all the time. Yeah. But the thing is, I got a house to take care of. I got to work for 40 hours. We got this channel that you guys love so much. So like, come on now. I cannot put all my hours into a single game.
It was like, now that you're in the game again, I can stress how like carefully me and Mike had to like plan to get you back in, because we were genuinely like, Mike would be like, yo, when's Nekko gonna hop on? And it's like, I just flash back to like me begging you to play Elden Ring and you being like, I have 6 hours of sleep this entire week. And I was like, am I gonna do that to him again?
Dude, there was whenever he first came out or something, I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I was only sleeping 2 hours each night and it was insane.
It's like, go to bed at 12, wake up at 2 for work.
Yes. And it was horrible. It was because of videos. It was also because I did want to play a little bit. And it's just like, it's one of those things, you gotta sacrifice something. Well, sleep it is.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I wish I didn't have to sleep. I'd have 24 hours.
No, but you know what? I feel like this time around, I feel like we're doing a whole lot better because
everybody's just doing it on their own pace.
Yeah, and then like if you don't have the time, then you don't have the time. It's not gonna hurt anybody. whenever we do have the time, then we'll jump in and do some stuff. You know? Like, so like, yeah, I think we're managing it 10 times better now than we did when we first jump into this, when we were just like, man, like this is fucking exciting.
Everybody has to be at the
Let's
same
just
pace.
burn all these hours in just so that we
I wish
can.
I could hop in. But
Get
Xbox,
that
big
PS5,
game.
boy.
I tried for like 2 years.
No, yeah, it has
Even a
almost
PS4
been.
we'll get to.
That's
that.
true. That is true.
I already got an Xbox.
Yeah, but the PS5s, hopefully they'll get in stock pretty soon.
Yeah, you gotta be like Walmart lets us know when it comes out, but I don't have the money to buy one.
Okay,
so
well, you let me know so I can let Colby know.
I'll try my best to keep an eye out because everybody at work it's always checking the thing.
Oh my god.
Like they're trying to get their PlayStation 5, and 2 people, like the close people that I work with, they got it like at the same day. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty
it's
cool.
crazy. Yeah, but I gotta say, if I, had 36 games trapped on an island, be some good ones. Minus Destiny. No offense. But
Hey, you don't never know if you probably enjoyed it.
yeah, I only played the first one. I didn't play the second one.
Hey, the Sparrow League racing was fun as shit. I don't know why they haven't brought it up again. That was technically a Mario Kart in Destiny.
Oh, well, yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
It was fun. It was really fucking fun.
Alrighty, well, I guess that's a wrap on this much extended episode of Press Idea Talk.
You get 2 in a row, buddy. Yeah, because like last one was also an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. Brittany went off on that one, but yeah,
She went on a tangent.
we're out.
All right, you guys. Hope you enjoyed.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys for tuning in on another Press Edu Talk podcast. We hope you enjoy our thoughts on the matter, but cannot wait to see your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.